choose their leaders, constitutionalists are confused about the Electoral College, and a suspicious speaker is selected to the City on the Hill Assembly. It's all here on today's edition of the COTH Report. Welcome to the COTH Report for July 13th, 2022. I'm Felicity Hornblower. And I'm Beatrix Boff. Day 2 in the Assembly got off to a running start, with both parties electing their leaders and appointing members to their respective executive boards. It was an intense race between the constitutionalists, causing many candidates to resort to making promises that others were doubtful they could keep.
I realized the vending machines are broken. They'll be as good as new. And there's actually low-quality toilet paper I've noticed. Yeah, you know, like the commercial with the bears?
What does toilet paper have to do with our parties?
Take care of your body outside of the here.
Is it an injustice that people are actually facing? Or are you being selfish, like the Patriots, and only thinking about your individual self with toilet paper?
The Patriot race was less heated, but members of both parties seemed to be running on a platform of violence.
I play Risk all the time. I know what war is like, and this is a verbal war. Verbal war.
And then there were the loyals, like our patriots, who decided, oh no, we should probably just we'll stay with Britain, we'll get taxed, I know that boring stuff. Well, guess what happened to them? Anyone want to make a guess? They got killed.
Luckily, these bold declarations were followed up by no further action, as neither Assemblyman Buell nor Assemblyman Hadman were elected to the position of party leader. The morning session ended with the election of Assemblywoman Pope as leader of the Patriots and Assemblywoman Stewart as leader of the Constitutionalist Party. However, there was some doubt as to the integrity of the Patriot Party election.
Can we get one person to come and just watch us so that there's no debate as to whether we counted the votes correctly? This is not for the media.
Which caused some to be dissatisfied with the election results. It was noted by onlookers that the Constitutionalist election took significantly longer than the Patriots, despite the fact that the Constitutionalists hold the minority. It comes as no surprise that the Constitutionalists have difficulty with their elections, considering the confusion that arose yesterday evening about just how exactly the Electoral College works. Despite this being one of their party planks, many of the Constitutionalists couldn't give a clear answer when asked to explain this core principle of the American political process earlier today. And the Patriots' knowledge of the subject was just as pathetic.
Can you explain the Electoral College?
No.
Can you explain the Electoral College?
And then I failed.
No, thank you. I don't know it. I gave up a while ago.
No.
No, I can't. No.
Can you explain to us how the Electoral College works?
To clear up this confusion, we spoke to electoral expert Melissa Taylor.
Can you give us the dictionary definition of the Electoral College and explain how that all works?
Here's the thing. We're not a democracy. We are a republic. And so our founders decided that an electoral college would be the way to best represent the needs of both rural and small states versus large states. And so each state is given a certain number of votes for president. And so, for instance, California has a lot of congressmen and 2 senators. So the combination of those two, based on population, is how many votes California gets. Nevada, where I'm from, only has 6 votes, and that's because we have less people. This is a way to make it fair so that rural versus urban gets a vote.
Luckily, the vote for Speaker of the Assembly is not decided by electors. After a close race with Assembly members Cleveland and Hagman, Assemblywoman Meredith Shumate was elected as Speaker of the City on the Hill Assembly.
I would like to welcome Speakerwoman Shumate.
Wow.
When we spoke to Shumate after the election, she expressed her hopes for this week and her desire for party unity.
My goals are to keep the parties, happy, obviously. We don't want any crazy stuff going on. Well, I don't want to call any people out, but there's a lot of people who are they're backstabbers, for sure.
We'd like to take brief pause from our program to invite back our beloved former Governor England to weigh in on this tremendous victory for the Constitutionalists. What can we expect for this week? Karen? Oh, we can't quite hear you, Kevin.
24/7. So it'll be a very interesting week to see how it plays out and how.
There appears to be some difficulties with the transmission.
Oh dear.
Well, we can move on. As in previous years, there were some questions raised as to the validity of the speaker election, with vote counters seen participating in suspicious activity.
And we'll add one to each of these.
The Speaker pro tem, Ian Clement, who, we might add, had shady dealings with Shoemate last legislative term, was quoted as saying, "Let's hear it for our vote casters," in reference to Ms. Taylor and Mr. Passworth, before correcting himself, stating he meant to say vote counters.
A mere slip of the tongue, perhaps, but we all know that Shoemate has had shady dealings in the past, being directly implicated in the great financial scandal of 2021. When questioned about her trustworthiness, Shoemate didn't say much to defend herself.
Will you be following in the footsteps of former Speaker Clement with his embezzling of funds and...
Maybe.
We must ask ourselves, is the newly elected Speaker to be trusted? Is it really a coincidence that two veteran legislators, one of whom was directly involved in the great financial scandal of 2021, both reside on the Patriot Party Executive Board?
Shoemate also seems to have had a hand in the election of Assemblyman Brown to the Constitutionalist Party Executive Board.
So I've got some second years and some multi-years who have actually been on the executive board. Sorry, I'm trying to think of all their names.
The Speaker and her fellow veteran Assembly members seem to have their hand in every pot, colluding and conspiring under the alias the Elders.
The elders in our party are people that have more experience in this area than some of the other members of our congregation.
I've been talking to our two elders.
How exactly did Shoemate, a member of the minority party, rise to power as Speaker so quickly? Could it be that the veteran Assembly members are banding together to seize party funds once more? Only time will tell.
That's all for today. Thank you for tuning in to today's edition of the COTH Report,
Your unbiased news source.